okay, who are you trying to be and what do you want to do with your life and your gifts? And, I've decided that all of my work and all of my endeavors, I want to try to do some good with. It really does.
To kick it off. But let's go ahead and kick it off. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 003 of the Covering Strongbacks podcast. Got my good friend Chris Morgan with me again. And today's going to be a good day because we're going to talk about Chris Morgan and some of his conquests from 2020 and into 2021. If you are in the community, you know about his conquest already, but hopefully we'll get down to some the nitty-gritty, dirty details with him. It'll be a good time. Chris, you want to open us up with your unofficial sponsors, and then we'll get into the official sponsors?
Oh, yeah. So just to remind everybody, we always shoot this during happy hour, and the unofficial sponsor is always whatever beer I'm drinking. So today is the Axeman IPA. Nice. This used to be called Todd the Axeman, but that brewer left surly, so now it's just called Axeman. But it's pretty good, and I will open it. What do you got today, Trampis?
Beautiful. Beautiful. I tried to one-up my Stella from last time. I went and found a Zima. Do you remember those?
You did not.
I'm joking. I didn't get a Zima. I went and bought me some Voodoo Ranger, and this is the American Haze Voodoo Ranger. And I'm going to attempt this on camera just to let everybody know that.
Well, you didn't wet the glass, so it's going to foam like a son of a gun. But looks like you did all right. Wow. Pro pour.
Foam like a son of a gun. All right.
Oh, and
so those are our unofficial sponsors. Everybody, go out and get some.
Unofficial sponsors. And I didn't do my disclaimer. I've got my brother and sister-in-law coming over. They're going to be arriving imminently. I have my parents coming over, and they're going to be walking right over my head. The dog's going to bark, so I'm going to have the hot mute button ready. And then you're just going to have to do a commercial.
There's a good chance you'll get an extra commercial during the middle of this, but the only official sponsor of this podcast is Elemen Athletic Wear. And if you didn't know, that's what we do here. Chris wearing just the classic Elemen logo. Is that black?
I think it's heather gray.
Heather gray.
I think, or something like that.
I like that.
It's actually my favorite. Is just the logo.
The logo, I'm pretty proud of the logo. A lot of people spend a lot of time and money on a decent logo. That took me about 10 minutes.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I'm pretty proud of it.
You should be.
Got on my Covering Strong Back shirt, because if you didn't know, that's what I plan to do. Cover the strong backs all across America.
I thought it was covering soft
That's
hands.
about the corniest thing I can come up with. Yeah. Well, that's Central Time stuff. We don't worry about that over here on the East Coast.
That's fantastic. So, how was the week of training?
Let's get into some updates.
Yeah.
Oh, week of training. I've had a great week of training. Great week. I've hit all day so far. No breaks. Obviously, it's deload, so not like super hard, but not really super easy. It's been a good deload week. But I felt really good about the whole week. Wednesday, as I know you saw, Kyle Johnson came. Got to hang out in the garage with him for a while.
Super jealous.
Got to share a beer afterwards with him as well. So, very good times with him. But let's see what we do. I think Hard to Kill and BCT. You're Hard to Kill still following BCT in deload weeks. So
this is a joke and one I disagree with. But
so what did we do? It was a squat on Mondays. We did our zone 2 on Tuesday.
Upper body stuff Wednesday, probably.
Or Wednesday. Yeah. A lot of good training. How's your training been?
I was on vacation all week, so I did no GGA trainings for a whole week for probably like the first time in 2 years or something. And mostly that's because we did a lot of hiking. I did on Tuesday feel the need for some work, so I found a playground, did a bunch of pull-ups, did some other stuff, but that was it. And then this morning even, still wasn't ready, so I just went and did Murph, and that's how I get back into training. It's just go do Murph, and then you feel better.
Yeah, Murph. Is that your first time doing Murph?
Yes. First time. I did miss Thursday, though.
Obviously. Huh?
I did miss a Thursday this week, so.
Oh, my.
I feel pretty bad about that.
Oh, my. Is that the first Thursday you've missed in a while?
Oh, yeah, over a year.
Did you take a break after?
Not really. Okay. No, I don't think I did.
No breaks.
But, yeah, what's funny is I actually did go out and start one, and it was so hot. I'd been traveling all day, and I'm just like, you're an idiot. Just do it tomorrow morning. So that's what I did.
So you ran a mile then and decided not to do any cows? Is what
I did a mile, and I did one set of the calisthenics. I took the vest off, and I'm like, fuck this. This isn't happening.
Well, if anyone can screw off a Murph and still feel good about what they've done in the past, I think it's you. So, yeah, no surprise what we're going to talk about today is Murph. And just in case nobody knows what Murph is and you're listening to this, Murph is a hero workout from the CrossFit community. And the workout is as follows: 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then another mile run. And you do that for time. And in the CrossFit community, and really, kind of just the fitness community at this point, Murph has sort of been this scary workout for a lot of people. And I think there is reason for it to have such notoriety, but at the same time, it is just another workout, and you can train through it. And if anyone has exemplified that, it's my friend Chris here. How many times did you do the workout, Chris? Total. And let me put a little more parameter around that, because you've done it a lot. But from when we started the Murph 52 mission last Memorial Day through this past Memorial Day, how many times did you complete it?
252 times on the nose.
That still just sends shivers up. So, for anyone who doesn't know, it's done on Memorial Day because the workout is a hero wide. So it's basically a workout that you do in honor of a fallen warrior. And this particular warrior was Michael P. Murphy, Lieutenant Michael P. Murphy. He was in Afghanistan, I believe, and he died for his country. And the workout has been a way of honoring him, and it does that. It was a workout that he did, I believe, for the longest time. He called it body armor, I believe.
That's right.
Because that workout basically turns you into body armor if you do it enough.
That's what I suspect.
You also, the correct version, and I do air quotes because there's really no tried and true correct version, but you're also supposed to wear a 20-pound vest when you complete the workout. So, I mean, anybody that can just do it has to be to a certain level of fitness, right, especially if you get it down into the times that we've seen in the GGA community, and then just The guys at the CrossFit Games do it. So you've got to be at a certain level of fitness just to complete the workout without scaling. But what's cool about it is that you can train it, and it doesn't have to be as scary of a beast as it was intended, I believe.
That's right.
But what so you did 252. When did you know it was going to be more than 52? Because we set out on Memorial Day to do it once a week, and I did it once a week, and that was plenty for me. But you decided at some point that was not enough.
Yeah, that somebody gets some credit on that. Well, it's really funny how these things happen, because so many things lead you on something like this, and things just sort of come together, make it all happen. But there's kind of two reasons it ended up turning into more than 52. One, we had a Spartan race to prepare for, a beast. That I'd never done anything like that before. So I was trying to think of ways to do long training sessions on Saturdays. I started calling them Spartan Saturdays back in maybe June or July of last year. And right around the same time, Chris John was talking about, he had crazy ideas about the end of the year, maybe doing Murph for 24 hours. And that was sort of the idea hatched in my head. Well, I'd never done Murph twice in a row. Maybe I should just try that. So I can't remember if it was June or July, but, basically I always do Murph on Thursday. We call that Thurf Day. Then right away on Saturday there, I did 2 more, and I was tracking everything in a spreadsheet. And that's where I was like, maybe I could do it on Thursday and twice on Saturday all the time. So that was sort of a wonder if I could type of thing. I kind of filled out the rest of the spreadsheet for the year. Saw that give me to maybe 165 or something. I can't exactly remember. I'm like, well, it's more than 3 times a week, but not 4. What would I have to do to get to, basically 200 for the year? Because that was the original goal. And I said, well, you have these other weeks, right? We're in deload week right now. If I do, Murph every day during deload week or something, or, every other day, and then we have our fit weeks where I could, I'm not doing a lot of testing. I'm like, well, I could really push myself in those fit weeks to do Murph a lot during those weeks. That's sort of how it all came together. So the plan, maybe a third or a quarter of the way into the year, sort of just came together. And I was like, man, let's see if you can get 200 done in a year, which is a lot for, us who are doing other training, right? I mean, that's 200 on top of training, which is a lot. So other than May,
52 on top of normal training is a lot for most people. And just watching you and your somehow dedication and commitment to that was real inspiring. And I don't want to. I know you don't like the.
Thanks, man.
You don't like the praise that you get for it, but you deserve it. So I just want you to hear that.
Well, thank you. I mean, yeah, it's a complicated issue, I would say, because everybody, our community knows what happened, right? I ramped up the schedule to finish my 200 because that was my original goal, to finish that at the end of April. So it was the 211 months, really, and then committed to this big fundraising challenge, which we can talk more about, to do the 52 in May. But it is complicated because it's very personal, but also I do want people to know that they can do a lot more than they think. So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate what you said, but yeah, it is I tell you what, it's, thinking back on it, sometimes I don't really understand how I did it. It was not that long ago, and I'm like, I already don't feel like the person that did that 3 months ago.
Right. would you ever do it again? At least to that extent. I mean, I think if not just from a physical stance on it, just from mentally putting yourself through that monotonous torture. I mean, you get so used to that workout. I mean, would you do something like that again? I know you're planning on doing things again.
Yeah.
Or new events, new things. But would you ever revisit something like that again?
I don't think there's a point. I've learned its lessons, I would say. And I think a lot of it, too, is, look, this started in 2020 and ended in 2021. If there was a time to do something like this, that was it. Because I had so few disruptions, in my personal life as far as travel and whatever. I mean, it was just the right moment for something like that. And no, I couldn't do it again, just practically speaking, because, as the world gets back to normal, that's just too much of a time commitment. But also, I don't need to do it again. I'm done. But I'm still doing Murph every week, sometimes twice a week, because I like it. But
and that's not to say that he's not ever doing Murph again, because I know for a fact he still does it. I did 52 of them and completely stopped. I want everyone to know that right away. I was so ready for that to be done, and which is funny because I kind of see myself as someone that can stick with things.
Yeah,
I stuck with it for the year, but like my goals, just I guess once I see the light at the end of that tunnel, I was already planning on what was next. I think I even I went out and bought a bike well before that was over, knowing that I wasn't going to really be able to use the bike because I was going to be doing Murph, or I wouldn't feel like using the bike because I was going to be doing Murph. But I had that bike ready to go for when we stopped, so I could start riding it.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm doing a lot of running, but I still. There's something about that workout and doing it regularly that just makes me feel good, because it is hard, and I don't go that hard. I treat it like training, but training fast, whatever, it's still a lot of pull-ups, so it's very hard. But
to me, it's just such a well-rounded, well put together workout, right? Like,
it really is.
You're not going to get super strong doing it. You're not going to have like great endurance necessarily doing it, but it's such a good mid-range of both of those, because it's it's all body weight, but you can scale it up with the pull-ups or something like that, or people are doing sandbag Murphs and stuff, for squats and whatnot. But then also the running, it's 2 miles of running, which it's not a long distance, but it's not a short distance either.
Right.
It's such a good mid-range. And then I guess a true Murph, when you're going all out, that's supposed to be, you're glycolytic, or you're really, you're really high heart rate type workout, but you can scale that back as well. And,
I think
get the zone 2 work in. To me, it's just such a versatile workout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I definitely look like I don't think anybody could go max effort Murph daily for any period of time. Like, right, it's just too.
And even if they could, that's just not healthy.
It's not good for you,
that.
right? So, I always I think what I talked about with, I've talked about with other people, but a lot of this. Look, it never gets any mentally easier, that workout, repeating it that many times. And I knew I wanted to just get. I knew that was always going to suck, but you do get physically tougher doing it. And you get this level on the calisthenics where, I'm so sorry about my dogs. I'm going to acknowledge it. Everybody can hear it. But you do reach this level where those calisthenics become somewhat aerobic. And it's a pretty cool feeling because they become a little bit more effortless. And it's it's a great experience. But yeah, I encourage people to do it. I think to your point, like if I don't know what to do and I'm out somewhere and I know I can do pull-ups somewhere, I'm just going to do Murph, like because you get a little bit of running, you get the pushing, the pulling, the squats, and anytime I have any issues like with my sciatica or whatever, I go to Murph because it fixes it. So it's weird. I do think there's some magic to that workout.
Medicinal healing capabilities within the workout Murph.
Yeah.
We're not doctors, so maybe consult your physician before you treat sciatica with repeated Murph attempts. Do you need to go upstairs? Is someone breaking into your house? I knew we were going to hear them bark, but I didn't know that we were going to be like mauling someone.
I know. I'm gonna mute. You do a commercial. I'm gonna go up there and yell at some people.
Hey guys, real quick, Trampis here from Elemen Athletic Wear. Just wanted to let y'all know, while you may think we're only a t-shirt company, we're actually a lot more than that. We got tank tops, hoodies, hats, mugs, all kinds of accessories, and we're expanding all the time. So make sure to check us out at our store, elementathleticwear.com, and keep listening to the podcast. Thanks. And we are back. Thankfully, Chris got up there just in time to keep his mother, was it you said your mother-in-law and father-in-law or something, keeping them from getting mauled to death. So, thank you, Chris, for stopping that.
There's no guarantee the quiet continues. They are still obnoxious dogs, and only half the guests have arrived, so I'm sure there will be more barking.
I think it's just amazing. So every podcast I've done, either here or somewhere else, my dog has been in the room with me, and so far, nothing's happened. But I'm sure it will at one point. So,
isn't he like 100 years old though, and super chill, like South Carolina dog?
He is. He's 12 this year, but I guess what's good about that is he's almost completely deaf. So until someone is like in front of him, he doesn't bark. But like when my wife walks in or something, he won't bark at her, obviously. But if our door was open, it's just our glass, and a car goes by, someone's trying to get in the house. He's letting us know. So he's good, but not great for podcast. But let's get back to this Murph conversation. So I kind of got a two-part question for you. We know sort of how it started, like physically, where though did the drive to do all this come from? And then once you got done with that, what did you learn about yourself through it?
Good question. A lot has changed in my life, I would say, in the last, call it, 4 years. There's probably a lot of guys. I think this is more relevant for guys. I shouldn't say that. But I had some issues in my life that I had to sort out. And it's hard for me to talk too much about like the very beginning of it just because it involves other people. But, when I was a teenager, some stuff happened in my life, and the way I reacted to it was not good or healthy. And that kind of put me on a path sort of after my high school athletics were over for call it, 15 years of not living well, I would say. So it's, there's, when your whole world gets turned upside down when you're a teenager and you leave for college and you have these ideas about being a good person and what you're going to do in reaction to those things, and you don't do them, it's not a good feeling. Then, that's what happened in my life, right? Where it's like I wanted to be one kind of person in reaction to that situation. I wasn't. And I think I had a lot of shame and regret about that for, probably call it like half a decade when that was going on. And then when I became a young adult, had my first kid, I went in sort of a very different but equally unproductive direction where it was like, all I'm going to do is work and make sure I can take care of everything financially. But that's like the only thing I cared about. And
it's a bad spiral for a lot of people.
It's a bad spiral for a lot of people, and it's very tricky and deceptive because while you're in that spiral, you don't see anything wrong with it because you're working hard and you're providing, and that should be all that should be expected of anybody. And then you take pride in it too when it works. Like when you're doing well functioning, you get even more stubborn about it, right? But I think for me and for a lot of people too, what starts to happen is you do know you're still wrong, and you still have a lot of anxiety and depression. And then what do a lot of us do? We start having a cocktail or two at night to kind of quiet the head a little bit so we can downregulate. So, that's a bad pattern of living, to work a lot, drink a lot, not be who you could be. It's a bad pattern. And a lot of people do it for a lot of years. And it ends with bad marriages, divorces, poor relationships with children, no real friendships. You're very unhealthy, et cetera, right? So I think about 4 years ago, I started to realize that because, I got into a spot in my career that was not great. And I started looking around at my life, and it was, the total opposite of what I thought it was. There was, I always considered myself to be a good man and a good person. I told myself that I was a good husband, told myself I was a good father, told myself I was a good boss, and that I cared about people more, or that I cared about people, right? And the weird thing is when you do finally get in a spot where things aren't going well for you, and you get a chance to really reflect on things, you realize you've been lying to yourself a lot, right? It's I say I'm a good dad. None of my actions say that I am. I say I'm a good husband. None of my actions say that I am. And I say I'm a good boss who cares about people, and none of my actions say that's true, right? And I think it takes that moment in your career or whatever you've been doing to kind of hide from all of your issues for that to happen, because whatever you're left with at that moment shows who you really are and what you really have. And what I had was pretty sad. I was not happy with what I saw. So, so I know that's all very vague, and a lot of it has to be just because it involves other people, but I had to sort of, fix my life. So that's what I've been working on for the last 4 years. So big part of that was, definitely change an approach at work of actually caring about people, which made work a lot more, magical, I would say. That's the best way to describe it. When you actually care about people and your actions reflect that, it makes your whole career better. Tried to be much more of a servant at home to my wife and my kids and be more engaged, and that made a huge difference in my life too. But then a lot of it was just getting healthy, stopping a lot of the bad habits and things, right? So that's how I ended up with garage gym athlete, and then a lot of introspection and things come along with that, where it's okay, who are you trying to be and what do you want to do with your life and your gifts? And I've decided that all of my work and all of my endeavors, I want to try to do some good with it, right? I don't want to train for me. just for me, I'm not interested in like, the PRs and all that stuff. It's like everything that you do, you gotta have some purpose behind it. So, and all my interactions need to have purpose too, whether it's in the community, like in the GGA community, like I'm in there a lot, posting a lot, and it is intentional, right? It's like to make the community better, to keep people engaged and keep it light, keep it fun. But this Murph thing was really for GGA, right? Like, I'm so grateful for the training that the coaches have built and the company that Jared's built. And I wanted to show people, like, what that training really does prepare you for if you mentally, commit to something crazy, like doing Murph 200 times in a year. That'd be normal training or whatever. But, it's sort of to champion our community. And then, the fundraiser speaks for itself. Why do we do that? It's very...
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because I think something that gets lost in all this sometimes, a lot of us have done 52 Murphs in a year now. And I think Jared probably feels the same way that you do about getting praise, but just from what I know about him. But, he's the first one that decided to do that.
Yeah.
And he did it by himself, essentially. There may have been one or two other people doing it, but it was not like how I did it. And nobody's done it, as far as I know, 252 times by them in a year other than you. So you kind of did that by yourself. But I mean, Jared did this twice, and
right.
I think a lot of people forget that especially in our community. I mean,
I don't.
It's amazing. Yeah, I'm sure. We don't, but it's amazing to know, or to think about what he's spurred on to this. Mm-hmm. I mean, the amount of Murphs that have been done that would have never been done. It took me the longest time to admit that our first Murph, the Memorial Day, was the first full Murph I'd actually done. I had talked about doing Murph. I had done like a half Murph, or I'd always come up with some reason, that I hadn't done a full Murph. And then we got that group together, and I finally did a full Murph, and now I've done 52. So, just the amount of people that Jared has inspired to do this, and obviously 100%. Had he not done that, you wouldn't have done that. And then
never would have thought about
what. Right. To talk about what that turned into was, what was it? Just shy of $40,000 to the Special Operations Warrior Foundation.
Yeah,
and that was a combination of you bringing in people willing to donate, and then the community getting behind a Murph burner program. Which, I mean, I bet you, I don't know how many people did the program. I bet you at least half just bought it. I bought it. I'm not looking for praise. It was a $7 donation, but you didn't buy it. You donated $7 and you got that as a free gift. So, just an incredible undertaking, and it was so last minute. Essentially, you decided? We decided that it was going to happen that first month, and or that last month, like right before May, and then just sort of made it happen.
It's funny because I knew, call it in like February, that I was going to be able to get to the 200. And, I was like, man, we got to do something. So, early on in February, I was doing some chatting with like you guys, and even hitting the coaches up to do kind of fundraiser thing. But I think a lot of people didn't take me seriously or seriously enough for what I wanted to do, which is perfectly fine. Like, it could just be somebody talking craziness. But I think what was
I bet he gets that a lot, honestly.
I agree.
My guess is he gets that a lot. I'm sure people come to him with ideas all the time, and no one follows through. But
I agree.
There's no way that there's no way if you would have told me specifically in February that you were going to do 52 in May that I would have doubted you. I mean, at that point, you were just knocking them out every day. I mean, it's like, yeah, hey, you could do 52. I believe that.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't do normal training on top of that. I guess we should clarify.
In May. That's right. That's right. No.
Like, it's still, I mean, 50. Yeah, in May.
Yeah.
Still a pretty crazy undertaking, regardless.
To be, I don't know, it's like the coolest lesson I learned about sort of initiative and taking control of things really had more to do with the fundraiser than kind of the life lessons I had from the Murph project itself. Because, I'm not an entrepreneur. I have worked in very entrepreneurial companies, but I'm like an accounting guy. I'm not a commercial guy, like going out and doing deals and stuff. And I wanted to do this fundraising thing, and I knew I needed something to get people's attention, whether it was people that were going to be donating or, even getting like, GGA's attention. So, I reached out to that video production company, and this guy's like, I want to make a video. And even that guy's like, what? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I want to do this fundraiser. I'm working on this thing. Here's what I'm thinking or whatever. And he's like, okay, well, let's go get coffee or whatever. So I had to meet him for coffee, and I still had to I was trying to pay him, and he still was like, what are you trying to do? So it was funny. Eventually he came around. He's like, okay, this is a cool project. Definitely want to do it. But yeah, so I started talking to him in very early, I think it was late March. And then I think, we had that video basically ready by mid-April. That's when I shared it with you guys and shared it with the rest of the GGA coaches. And then that was, adding that to sort of all the really cool fundraising program stuff that that the GGA team was doing for May really is what made it happen. And then that video is also what I used to do my own personal networking and fundraising, which is really cool. So I've never done anything like that before.
Yeah, and I think that was a good move for letting people know that you're serious.
Yeah.
My guess is, yeah. I don't know how much you spent on it, but my guess is some of the people that you were pitching to didn't even know what Murph was, much less what it means to do it 52 times in the month of May. So
right,
that to me showed, and like I said, I didn't doubt you in the beginning, but that to me showed, okay, this guy he really is going to go through with this, which is it's still just incredible.
It was. I mean, I told my wife about it, and she's like, "Why? Like, what are you doing?"
That actually leads into another question: were you surprised at how much support you got from the group, the coaches, and then the people that you asked for donations? I mean, were you surprised, or did it kind of ebb and flow?
I wasn't. I think a lot of people that I know, personally and professionally, have seen probably, some of the changes I've made in my life too, and maybe that speaks to the success of the fundraiser. Is like when you're actually trying to be a good person and your actions reflect that, maybe like other people do see it and do believe in you too. Because I definitely believed in it and wanted it to happen. I was very surprised by some people's commitment. Like I have a very, very good friend who supported a couple of friends, I should say, that really supported the fundraising financially, and it was I was very moved by that, just because I think they could tell how much I cared about it, and all the work that had gone into it, and getting ready to do that. So, yeah, I mean, I was surprised and I wasn't surprised. It's weird. It's a weird thing to do something like that and have it be successful, and for somebody else, right? It's pretty cool.
I remember you talking about it being weird. I remember talking to you early on, like when you were. I think you were trying to convince yourself, but you were trying to convince me too. Like this is the thing. And you're like, I'm just so, you were, and I don't remember the exact conversation, but I feel like you were just so nervous about telling these people and letting them into this part of your life. I mean, I'm sure that they know that you're into fitness and you enjoy it, but like to let people know that you were doing something like this with your fitness and you're to that level, I think for you that was a big commitment just to ask people. I probably like you, I don't like asking people for anything.
Right.
But then to ask them for a donation to some cause they've never heard of, for a workout they've never heard of, and for a guy, yeah, he's a friend, but I mean, is this guy serious? I could definitely see that being like a very odd or a weird moment for you.
Look, I think the video helped a lot because I wrote up, I like writing. I did write up a little bit of an email. But having that video and having the right partners and creating something like that is a big reason for the success because, they capture sort of the magic of it in a way that, like, certainly an accountant never could do, right? So I'm very, very grateful for kind of the work they did. It was sort of a crazy decision to go pay for a video to be made, but I think it was pretty smart too, because it worked out. Like I paid a good amount of money for that video as part of the sort of my contributions to this fundraiser, to think about it that way. But yeah, the amount of the response because of that video and all that was like totally worth it. I was really worried that I would go through all this work, make this cool video, do all this stuff, and it would just flop. Like, the fundraising would have flopped. It would have been very devastating because I still would have had to do Murph 52 times a month. It would have just sucked. So I think I took it seriously enough for it to work. But, man, without the community and GGA and everything else, like, none of this would have happened, right? Like, that's what you get back to the origin, all this stuff. It's like, yeah, it's Jared doing Jared coming up with the idea to do Murph once a week for a year. I don't even know if anybody would have thought about that. And then all the additional like challenges and fundraising and whatever that it's led to just goes to show you how the world works, right? It's just like this incremental improvement of things.
Yeah. So you're done with that. We've already been over that. You're never going to do that again. I know we've hinted at something you personally want to accomplish, and I also know that we've talked, not publicly, but privately, on another fundraiser that you're wanting to do. And I think, unless it's changed, it was absolutely crazy. It was something like running around Lake Michigan. I don't know if that's still a thing. God, I hope it's not, because I don't want to be roped into that.
You're going to have to cut that because that's top secret.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to cut it, but no, it's slightly more complicated than that. I don't think enough people will watch this to steal our fundraising idea, but also, who's going to steal it to,
No, nobody's going to do that. No one's going to
steal it. It's ridiculous.
I tried to get you to switch it to bikes, but you said no, we got to do it on foot. You said we, and I'm not 100% sure that we includes me. Just FYI. I love
I don't know who we is, but yeah, it's an idea to do something around something that's very long and would take a week to 10 days, and involves more than just covering distance to make it extra GGAE. Your
Maybe
face
that's the
says
part we'll leave out. Maybe that's the part we'll leave out.
I think it'd be cool. I just think logistically it would be quite challenging. I think it'd be really special if we did it, but it requires some serious.
It would,
serious
if it was
planning.
accomplished. If it was accomplished, it would be super special. Like
It would.
like incredibly special. I guess
mean,
I'm just worried
should we-
about how
we
special
should just-
the pain would be.
We should just talk about it on a podcast, because then we might get the right person to hear about it who actually wants to help us make it happen. This makes sense.
That's fair. If there was
This is a platform.
if there was a podcast, we could do that on.
Yeah, so we'll
Maybe
talk
we
about
would.
it. So the goal is, or no, the insane idea is, team of 5 people, you run a relay around Lake Michigan. It's 1,100 miles. 10-mile legs. Maybe do unvested Cindy before every leg. And you rotate through. So basically for 10 days, maybe it's 7 days. I can't remember. It's a lot, though.
That Cindy part is ridiculous.
I mean...
And if for
You just
anyone
have
that
a
doesn't
trailer.
know, Cindy is... For anyone who doesn't know, Cindy is essentially the calisthenics for Murph. So 5, 10, 15,
Yeah.
20 rounds.
For 20 rounds. So
pull-ups,
you do 100
push-ups,
pull-ups,
and squats.
200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then you run 10 miles, and then it's the next person's turn. And you repeat this until you get all the way around Lake Michigan with a team of 5 people. It should take like maybe
6 months.
10 days.
6 months.
You have an 8-hour break between each one of them. You basically covering a marathon a day, doing 300 pull-ups and 600 push-ups and
I
900
don't think
squats.
that
It should be
math
fun.
works out. Are you sure you're an accountant?
All right, hold on. I'll tell you how many. Let me see how many legs it is. I got my calculator. So it's 1,100 miles divided by 10. That's 110 legs, right? Divided by 5.
Yeah.
So that's 22 per person. Divided by 3. Yeah, it's 7.3 days. Besides, I assume it would be 8 hours. Yeah. You do it basically 2.5 times a day or something. Non-stop.
I'm
You
not
have a big
doing that.
RV. Imagine it wrapped in Elemen graphics or, some other corporations with much higher advertising budgets. Saucony calling you out. I don't know. Whoever. Like, it would be quite an event. And I think it's one of those things, too, is that once one team does it, it could be one of those things that's like somebody hears about it and then a bunch of other hardcore people the next year want to come do it. I think it'd be, a week, 10 days. It's possible.
Well,
it's a lot of running.
I'm sure there's some very fit people that would love to help you do that.
Look, you can run 10 miles every 8 hours and do a bunch of pull-ups, push-ups, and squats every 8 hours. Ain't that big of a deal?
I just don't know. I'm just not sure about that.
So, if you're interested, send me an email. What's my email? Free, as in no cost, C as in Chris, Morgan, free C Morgan, at gmail.com. And we will plan together.
You are so lucky this podcast only has like 12 subscribers right now.
It's fine. Do you know how many emails I have in Gmail that I haven't read? It's in the 70, 80,
Oh, that's true.
90, 100,000 range. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen snapshots of this email account. It's
I get an email
it's enough
every,
to make.
I get an email every 75 to 90 seconds at work too. So I'm used. No one's gonna spam me into oblivion. It's fine. Famous last words.
Now he may not find the email that you've sent him, wanting to take part in this, but
Yeah. Or
reach out to Elemen. I'll get you hooked up with Chris, and we'll put your team together. Well, any closing thoughts on your 52 Murphs that turned into 252 Murphs?
Yeah, I have some final thoughts just on stuff in general. like what you're doing. We didn't really talk about some of the things I want to talk about, but I will say when it comes to fitness, work, all that stuff, and I know Trampis, I shared an article that I wrote up last week or whatever with you. Don't let your goals be their own things standalone, right? I mean, that's a big issue, right? That was mistakes I made in my career. Those are mistakes I made in previous athletic endeavors. When you do things for the purpose of doing them and reaching them, there's no sustained meaning in them, right? It's like you get it done, it's done, you're done. Yet you really need to focus on who you're becoming as a person as a result of all your endeavors. So it's kind of complicated in some ways, but there has to be a reason for what you're doing, and the reason can't be to do the thing you think is cool. It's really got to be about who you're becoming. Otherwise, you'll never get it done. So when I think back on the Murph challenge, why did I commit to doing Murph 200 times in a year? I think at the time I didn't really know, but what I learned from that is to become the person capable of doing something like this fundraiser. That's a good lesson to learn in life, right? It's like, why are you doing this? So hopefully you can do some good with it, right? So, good example.
Awesome. Very well said. Look, we've only been friends for a couple of years now, but I know that you and I have a long future together. We're going to be friends for a while, and I couldn't be happier to have somebody like you on my side. But
you're a special guy too, and I love you. And I know that's weird to say, but I do love you though. You're a good guy.
Feel it all the way down here. That's going to wrap us up today. Chris, I appreciate you sharing all that you shared. Until next time, y'all.
Cheers.